Buenas tardes, mi nombre es Angela Tzul, soy miembro del Comité de Migración de Together, Colorado, y también participo en varias organizaciones en Denver.
Good evening, my name is Angela Tzul. I am a member of the Immigration Committee with Together Colorado, and I'm also involved with various organizations across Denver.
Para empezar la pregunta, me gustaría hacerles a los candidatos a alcalde. Es el programa DACA que se encuentra actualmente bajo ataque legal. Él puede ser anulado si es elegido alcalde. ¿Cuál sería su política sobre las personas indocumentadas que llaman hogar a la ciudad de Denver? ¿Y cuál es la responsabilidad de la ciudad de dar la bienvenida a la afluencia de migrantes que llegan a nuestra ciudad?
To begin, the question I would like to address to the mayoral candidates is, the DACA program is currently under legal attack and may be overturned. If elected mayor, what would be your policy on undocumented people who call the city of Denver home? And what is the city's responsibility to welcoming the influx of immigrants coming to our city?
Kelly, will you go first on this? Sorry about that.
Thank you. Thank you for the question. So I'll first talk about the DACA issue. As your mayor, this is home. This is where our young people should be allowed to work, find a path, go to school, find their opportunity, and we need to defend as a community their ability and right to do that. But don't just take my word for it that I'll do it. I'll tell you what I did in 2010 when I was president and CEO of the Denver Metro Chamber of Commerce. There, we led an organization to commit through a resolution this same commitment, that our DACA kids not only work here, but have a path to citizenship and a future in our country. We led that work around the nation and tried our best to influence Washington. I would commit to continue that work to get our private sector and nonprofit sectors committing to the same commitment to our kids. The second part of the question was about migrants. We've had, I think, 6,800 migrants come to our city. These are people seeking refuge in our nation. They came in legally to be here in our city, and I am very proud of how we've received them and tried to help them. I got the chance to volunteer at the Rudy Park Rec Center in December just to meet and understand the challenge and the issues. And the number one challenge, I think, is that we have a process for people seeking sanctuary, literally, in our nation. It takes 18 months for us to go through that process, and we tell you, you can't work while you're here. It's ridiculous. We have to demand and find a path forward that allows people who are waiting for their status in our nation to be able to work. And every single person I met with during that volunteer day, the first question they asked is, where could I work? The other thing I want to emphasize is this. What you are reminded when you spend time with someone who has risked their life to travel across a continent to get to this nation is what an incredible nation it still is. And I'm proud that people continue to seek their lives here, and I'm committed to helping them build their lives here.
Thank you. Mike.
Thanks. Mil gracias, Angela, por la pregunta y por tu servicio. So this issue was the reason I got into public office in the first place. I was a school principal up in Thornton, and I was leading a school where we were able to turn our school around, and 100% of our seniors were graduating from high school, and they were admitted to four-year colleges, only to find out that about half of those students were undocumented immigrants, which meant at that time in Colorado, they could not go to college unless they paid out-of-state tuition, which meant they were stuck. And so we had these kids who'd done everything they could do to be prepared, and now they couldn't actually go. And so I ran for the state senate to try to be a part of the coalition to change that law. That was how I got to know Together Colorado for the first time, because it was Together Colorado, it was CIRC, it was at that point Padres y Jóvenes Unidos, who were leading the coalition to try to change that law. I was proud to be the sponsor in 2013 when we finally, for the first time, changed that law, got the governor to sign it, and best of all, I got to drive back up to my old high school and see my former group of 8th graders, who were now seniors, be the first kids in their family ever to be able to get up on the stage, pick up a diploma, hug their mom, and know they had someplace to go. We now can't let those kids down when 10 years later they are on the job working in this city. And so let me tell you what I would do about DACA if it gets overturned. And this was something I was working on a year ago, long before I got into this race. There are 14,000 recipients of DACA right now in the metro area. 14,000 people who are working, supporting their families right now in this city. If that gets overturned, those 14,000 people will lose their jobs. That means they can't support their families. Those employers don't want to see them go. But here's what we can do, and here's what I would do. I would refuse to allow Denver to be a place where those folks lose their jobs. And so here's what I've proposed. I'm the only one to come out with a plan on this very issue. What we can do is we can create a public-private partnership that would be a consulting organization. We might call it 5280. And what would happen is if you worked at a wine coop brewery and you lost your job as a server, you could come work for us as a consultant. We would go to wine coop and say, what do you need? They say we need 3 servers. We would deploy 3 servers from our staffing agency. Wine Coop pays us, and then we pay all of those employees on 1099s, where you do not have a Social Security card to be able to do that. You could stay employed, and even better, you could make this a co-op. You could make it owned by the employees, so any revenues that are generated, they get to keep. And we will dare the federal government to shut us down, because if they can't solve this problem, we will refuse to let our neighbors suffer as a result. We will keep them employed, keep them working, keep them on the job until the federal government can solve this.
Gracias.
You.
Gracias.
Thank you.